You are all very familiar with the Vestavia City Schools Foundation. They've been in existence for many years and provide money directly back into the schools for classroom grants that do all things related to just making the experience for our students much better. And they wanted to make a special presentation tonight. So who am I turning this over to?
I guess me.
Okay.
Fearless leader.
All right.
Yes, well, we are very excited. Last year when Dr. Freeman came to us with the opportunity to support the STEM programs in the elementary schools, which my daughters are getting to benefit from now at Dolly Ridge, as well as the engineering program at the high school, we were really excited to be able to give. So we are here to present a check you can cash at the bank and a check for photos for $150,000 to support this.
Well, everybody introduce yourself.
I'm Tate Stoddard, the Executive Director of the Foundation.
I'm Brooke Walker, and I'm over the Grants Committee.
Tiffany Davis, I am President-elect.
Chip Hoover, I'm the treasurer.
And I'm Beth Moody, I'm the president this year.
All parents of kids, of course, in our system that range from high school all the way down to elementary. And this is just tremendous. I mean, it's already getting put to good use, and we've got plans for all of this to be spent in a way that's going to just continue to grow our STEM programs. And you're right, we started STEM in September in elementary schools. My kids love it. They look forward to it every week. And engineering is growing at the high school. We're just really kind of in an initial phase of how that's going to take off. So it is a great investment. It's going to benefit thousands of children. So so thankful and appreciate it. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to echo quickly our thanks to the foundation. I think a couple of years ago, we made a really big push about the importance of STEM education in our system. And while we didn't get the funding we were hoping to get, it's been really encouraging to see our community come through in ways that we weren't even thinking about 2 or 3 years ago. And to see this type of support and to understand that our community saw the need for our STEM programming and have worked with us to find a way to provide that. And it's very encouraging to see that. So thank you all for being on the kind of tip of the spear for that. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Board members, Representative Carnes, Jim Carnes was going to join us tonight. He had another obligation come up, but he's also made a donation on behalf of the Fine Arts program that we'll be able to use in a good way as well. So I'm appreciative of that. So thankful for many really good partners. With that in mind, we'll move to financial statement.
Good afternoon, board members. I provided the August 31st, 2024 financial statements and check register for your review. As of August 31, 2024, we have collected 111.6% of our budgeted ad valorem tax revenues compared to the 104.5% that we received last year at this date. In August, we earned $114,000 in interest income on our investment and treasury suite for a total of $1.24 million fiscal year to date, which actually ends today to 9/30 is our fiscal year end. Our total expenditures and transfers out in the general fund as of August 31 were 96.1% of the budget compared to 96.3% last year. In the 11th month of our fiscal year, with all things being equal, we should be at 91.6% of our budgeted expenditures, but we're a little above that due to payments for some annual expenditures and early lease payoffs. Monthly financial statements and check registers are available for viewing on our website upon board approval, and all bank accounts have been reconciled as of August 31, 2024.
Thank you, Courtney. Board members, I recommend approval of the financial statement for August 2024.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the financial statement for August 2024. Do I hear a motion to approve? Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right. Thank you, Courtney. All right, Item 6 is consent items, and I recommend approval of these, and they are disposal of board property, in-state overnight field trips, out-of-state field trips, and out-of-state overnight field trips.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the consent items mentioned. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Under business, item A, I recommend the board approve the purchase of emergency communication equipment.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the purchase of emergency communication equipment. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, board members, I want to share just a little bit about this. Of course, we are trying to be always mindful of safety and security in our system, and we typically appoint funds to do things that we think are important. This is something that we have felt to be really important in light of just recent events and knowing how important it is to communicate quickly across our school campuses. And this system that I've asked you to consider is a system that is a response system by Centegix. Centegix is the company that provides this, and basically it's placard lanyards that are around any of our employees that have cards on them, and the card is synced to a system on our campuses where if there's an emergency, there's a certain number of pushes they make on the buttons. And if there's a lockdown, there are numbers, and when that happens, everybody on the campus, particularly the lockdown, is informed and they're able to take immediate action. That's important because anywhere on our campus outlay that they can utilize the system, and it will notify everybody on campus. So this is the next step for us. We think it's really important in timeliness when and if a situation were to occur on campus. So upon your approval of this, we would start the process of getting this integrated, and it would likely be sometime in the second semester. But a really important step, I think, in speeding up the process of notification when things happen on campus. I'll be glad to answer questions on this. I spent meetings in the last month with all of our faculties. This has come up several times, just the need to make sure that we've got the best for our faculties, and this is one of those things we can, I think, make a big step with. So I recommend approval of this one.
All right, all those in favor?
All right, thank you. Item B, I recommend the board approve the licensing agreement with Tana Bernal.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the licensing agreement with Tana Bernal. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Hear a second?
This, in the next line item, has to do with licensing in order to utilize our trademarks for whatever kind of memorabilia or clothing and things like that that are approved. And I'm putting you on the spot with, but how many licenses do you know that we currently have?
13 or 14.
Okay. So it's typical that we would do this along the ways. It's just an additional way for us to, of course, maintain control over our trademark and also allow our vendors to use it and market it because we love it being out there. You know, we love our safety trademarks out there. So I recommend approval of this.
All those in favor?
Item C, I recommend the board approve the licensing agreement with Birmingham Business Forums.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the licensing agreement with Birmingham Business Forums. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Item D, I recommend the board approve the change order for a fire alarm project at the old Civic Center.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the change order for the fire alarm project in the old Civic Center. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Board members, this is a wrap-up of a project we completed last school year to install a fire alarm. The old Civic Center behind us that we call the annex did not have a fire alarm system in it when we took it from the city. Not required by code, but we think it's necessary, of course, so we put that in, and this is just a wrap-up of it. It is an increase of a very small amount, a little over $7,000 just for some wrap-up items.
All those in favor?
All right. Item E, I recommend the board approve the owner-architect agreement for repairs to the cafeteria wall at Pizzitz Middle School.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the owner-architect agreement for repairs to the cafeteria wall at Pizzitz Middle School. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
You're aware of why this is. We talked about it, I think, last month, but we had a vehicle that made its way into our dry storage area at Possess. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, nobody was in there, but we need to make some necessary repairs on the wall.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item F, I recommend the board approve the owner-architect agreement for theater rigging retrofit at Vestavia Hills High School.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the owner-architect agreement for a theater rigging retrofit at the high school. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I think Ms. Stevenson, I know she's gone now, will tell us, we got a lot of things we need to do in the theater, but this one rises to the top in terms of safety. So in honor of that great work there, we'll start working our way through that list, and theater rigging is first.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item G, I recommend the board approve the owner-architect agreement for renovation of the cafeteria at Vestavia Hills Elementary East.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the owner-architect agreement for the renovation of the cafeteria at the East School. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
The purpose of this project is to develop a configuration in the east old cafeteria that would provide for additional space, be it classroom, small classroom, office space, whatever kind of the needs are that we'll be working with Ms. Eccles on. And we are scheduled to do that project this next fiscal year. Hopefully we're able to get it done. We want to get the design work started. So
All those in favor?
Aye.
item H, recommendation is to approve the owner-architect agreement for canopy projects at Vestavia Hills Elementary East and Vestavia Hills Elementary Dolly Ridge.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the owner-architect agreement for canopy projects at the East Elementary School and Dolly Ridge Elementary. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't explain that. We're going to place those canopies the front of the east where the car lines are, and then in the middle of Dolly Ridge between the buildings is an interior canopy, both small projects, but we'd like to take care of those this next summer. All right, item I recommend the board approve the revised job description for Director of Operations and Services.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the revised job description for the Director of Operations and Services. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Board members, one of the things that we've been evaluating here is making sure that we're able to prioritize some of the district initiatives and things that we need to pay close attention to. Safety and security is one of those, and while this is not in the job description, we did consolidate some work in our district office about 1.5 years ago when Dr. Martin left, and we've not hired a position back like that. It's not the same position, but it's something that I want us to be consider and potentially open up, but I'd like to get the job description approved first. But largely this would be around the capital needs, facility needs, custodial needs, things like that. It would allow us to restructure some of the assignments we have now with our safety coordinator and free up some time for him.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item J, I recommend the board approve proposals for 2 bus purchases.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the proposals for 2 bus purchases. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
This is 2 72-passenger buses that what you see here is a proposal that meets criteria for bid because it's under a consortium bid. So we're able to approve it without bidding, but this is our best pricing is 2 72-passenger buses. That will replace some of the older buses in our fleet and part of our capital plan. Now, I would just tell you that once you approve this, it's probably a year before we'll get the buses. It just takes a while, unfortunately, but we try to stay ahead as far as we can. It does take a while.
All those in favor?
Item K, I recommend the board approve the board policy for teachers' bill of rights.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the board policy for the Teachers' Bill of Rights. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Hear a second?
Second.
Board members, the legislature last year, and Mike could probably speak to this if he wanted to, passed a law that requires that we have a policy related to teachers' bill of rights. And essentially, the Bill of Rights has to do with protecting teachers from disciplinary situations in classrooms that aren't attended to
in a manner that seems to be appropriate. And I feel like our administrative team does a really good job with this. I don't foresee this is going to be really a problem for us. Perhaps, I don't think our system was in mind when this law was passed, but nevertheless, it is an opportunity to create a little bit more due process for a student who has significant behavioral issues from entering back into a classroom. So the Bill of Rights policy, which you're required to have as part of your policy manual, has a set of procedures that we already have in place if a situation occurs in a classroom, that there's step-by-step processes that have to happen in order for them to get back into the classroom.
All those in favor?
Item L, I recommend the board approve the board policy for distribution of explicit images.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve a board policy for the distribution of explicit images. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I want to just point this one out to you. So, this is based on some legislative action as well that happened early in this section, but I just want to read it if it's okay with you guys. No student shall distribute, display, solicit, possess, or produce a sexually or pornographic explicit image of any individual, including sexually explicit images of a child. This prohibition applies to whether or not the image is an identifiable person or whether the age of the individual can be determined. This prohibition includes images of known and unknown individuals and those generated by artificial intelligence. This is in reaction, I think, to this starting to happen more frequently. And so the law basically requires a policy such as this one. Our handbook, our code of conduct really already has the ability to act on these things if we find it out. So this really just meets the code requirement for the board. And like I said, we have in our code of conduct the ways to deal with that should it take place. Hopefully it doesn't, but we will be prepared if it does.
All in favor?
Next one is yours.
All right. I will now hear a nomination for a delegate from our board to attend the Alabama State Board Annual Convention. This happens every year, usually late November, early December. Historically, our nominee has been our newest member. I don't want that to influence who we nominate, but I will take a nomination.
I would like to be the humble nominator for the state delegate, Miss Amber Teradikis. She's our newest board member. She's doing a fantastic job, and I think she'll serve as a great state delegate for the meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It doesn't look like there's any discussion to have, so.
You want me to nominate them back?
Well, nominations are closed. So all in favor?
Aye.
Item 8 is personnel, and I recommend the board approve the personnel items that are submitted.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the personnel items as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Board members, a couple of years ago, maybe longer, at the time, board member Jacqueline Hudson, who's with us tonight, thank you for coming, Jacqueline, pitched an idea to me that we went back and forth around a lot of different thinkings about what to do with something like this. And we had a tax election, which we decided we needed to let that take precedent of the work we were doing. But once that was finished in May of 2023, we revisited this idea, and it really is about building even larger influence and support through partnerships with our district. And the key to something like this, we've always felt we have someone to lead it and to drive an idea that we call One Legacy. And we have that. You approved a contract a couple months ago with Allie Pilcher to lead this effort. And I wanted to share with you, and I wanted Jacqueline to be here and asked her to come because this really was her brain trust to get started. And I'm really thankful for the idea, and we're ready to launch. So Allie's here with us tonight. we got you queued up, and ready to go, Alex.
Okay.
All right, thank you for coming.
Okay, so I read this book probably like a week ago, and this quote was in there, and this was like just like a rom-com book. This was nothing, but I was like, how great is this? Your history is what happened to you. Your legacy is what you set in motion, and exactly what you just said is what Jacqueline did, is what Faith did, and I'm really honored as an alum to get to kind of carry this on. So, just kind of a brief, exactly what One Legacy is. A network of Vestavia Hill City Schools alumni, community members that support the schools in different ways. The biggest part is fostering connections between the alumni, the community, and the current students. We have gotten kind of a plan in place for as the years go on, but our first big push is obviously going to be community support and just exactly this, just fostering connections. Eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, facilitate career shadowing opportunities, develop a strong volunteer program, inform and promote school events in the community, highlight Vestavia Hills High School alum, and support school programs through financial contributions. I can say as an alum of Vestavia, I graduated on May 27th, and I have never heard another word from Vestavia Hills City Schools, ever. And so when you think about that, like, hold on, that means there's a whole lot of us that have graduated and have never heard. And so that's what, this is just such a great way to pull not only alums back in, but just to also pull our community back together to support our schools. 70% of our community is empty nesters. We've got to find a way to get them into our schools. I think about my parents, and the way they find out about events is word of mouth through one of their grandchildren. So what better way than to get the entire community involved and let them find out by being a part of this One Legacy community. Our big goals involve all members of the Vestavia Hills community. That's current families, that is future families, that is families that had students long ago that just still live here, community businesses. And our big push is going to be to join the One Legacy database. We are kind of setting the full launch for January, but you'll start seeing a lot more about it, especially probably come November. But there's our database. You get on there and you log in. You put all of your information in and you're signed up, and then you'll start getting information from us and truly feel a part of the One Legacy. Highlight high school alumni accomplishments. Like, there are so many amazing alumni, small business owners, big business owners, people that are doing really amazing things, and you don't hear about it unless you just randomly see it on Facebook, and it's not something that's tied back to Vestavia. Let's see, financial support for our campuses. There are going to be ways to give back. If you are administrators, you know, if you put an Amazon wish list out there, how long does it take to fill up? Not even a day. If a teacher asks for something, it's usually done pretty quickly. We have legislators that do the same kind of thing. Growing One Legacy's influence in our community, and that is through just building community with this. Mentorship for students and faculty and staff. Again, you have amazing alumni that are doing really big things, and what better way to give back than the schools that gave them the tools to get where they are. Bridging Vestavia businesses in our schools. We already have a Chamber of Commerce that loves our schools, and so we would love just to continue to foster that. So step one is join the database. We have a website, onelegacy.me, and you'll notice you'll just connect on there and you enter all your information in, and you will begin to get information. Who can join? The entire community. Current students, future students, community members. Why join the database? Again, fostering relationships. We have an amazing community, but I feel like at some points we can get kind of fragmented. So let's bring it all back together. Step two, how you're going to know about One Legacy. You'll be part of our basically database group that can get info. Of course, there's going to be an option. I don't want to receive information. We hope that's not what you want, but receive emails, receive updates, find out about fine arts happenings, find out about sports happening, find out about foundation. And then the events, we're going to have a break celebration for the class of 2025, and so I'll be meeting with Dr. Davenant, and we'll get together for the seniors. Big push, obviously next year, homecoming event. Why are we not celebrating our homecomings? Why are we not having more alumni come back? One Legacy Night, find our contribution areas. Where can you fit in? Where does your legacy lead you at Vestavia? School tours, alumni groups, and then of course just highlight school events where you can get involved. So kind of our little schedule. October, big community buy-in month. We're just trying to get the word out. November, we'll start meeting with different groups. December, big social media push, and then January, we'll actually launch, and it'll be out in the community for everybody to join the database and start getting information. April, we'll have the brick ceremony for the class of 2025, where they'll be able to buy bricks that lead down to the high school, leave a lasting legacy. And then in May, obviously graduation ceremony, and then we'll just be planning for big events next year for One Legacy. Questions?
Mr. Mine.
Can you buy bricks for students that have already graduated?
We're gonna give 2025 dibs first, and then absolutely, please.
I just want to say, talked to Jacqueline a long time about this, and just thank you for your work and everything that's gone into it. And thank you for implementing the vision, and it's something that's it's been needed for a long, long time. And because there's just so many that, went to school when we were in school that is, you hear it by word of mouth, or worse, you don't hear it through word of mouth. And I mean, I'm sure that some of this is going to be when a dear teacher has passed away or something, and you hear about it, like, man, and so I just think it's so welcome, needed, and I just really appreciate y'all putting this together. Really do.
Great job.
Yeah.
So I've had lots of conversations with Jacqueline about this, and Allie, we're so grateful that you are on board to kind of lead the charge within the system. But this has so much potential, and so much potential not just to impact where we are now, but to really, as you said, kind of continue to tie this community and the student community together, just not just till you're 18, but for the rest of your life. And what we learn at this stage does carry with us. And it's just another way of doing it. Yeah. So thank you for your vision, and thank you for your willingness to help us implement that vision.
I think the colleges and even private schools have had a sophisticated network for a long time to leverage the power of alumni. And we haven't in public schools really thought this way before. So it's really where it started. And I think that's where Jacqueline's vision was. And and we're ready to launch, which is really exciting. I think the better part of a year, probably Faith Lenard was putting the skeleton of this together for us, and how do we make this thing work. And we did realize at some point, I told Faith, I realized how much you're doing this, but you're actually the director of arts education. And so we needed to grow our team. And so Allie's going to just do fantastic. And she is a former teacher, Hoover School System, and of course one of our alum, and understands what all this means. And I like the beauty of how this will complement Foundation, it will complement PTO, all the partnerships that we have, and they all have different unique ways to contribute to the school. So it's just a really super and exciting next step. So looking forward to it. Anything you will say, Jacqueline, on this?
Well, I'm excited after, I think, 5 years, actually. I think I started talking about it my first year. But we got derailed a little bit. But like Scott said, I think just bringing the community together, because we have so many families like Mr. Boone and my parents, and I mean, that are still here that want to be a part. They've remained at Vestavia. Vestavia's given back to them all these years. And I think it's important, like you were mentioning, just to keep them connected as well. And they're givers. They want to give back, and that's huge, getting them involved. And I just think it's really cutting edge for a community to do this. Like you said, it's normally at the college level, and I think we can really just stand out nationally, really kicking this off. So I think it's going to be amazing for our community. And I hope everybody drinks the Kool-Aid and gets excited about it. It's going to be great.
I'm just thinking that, because we've had some of these conversations, but I think, Allie, as you mentioned, we have alums who are doing amazing things and doing things in areas that our students are super interested in. We've got an alumnus who was was involved with EA Sports and the kickoff of the college football video game. Now, if you've got a teenage son like I do, that was a big deal. But think about if we're able to connect with that alum and say, hey, can you do a video? Because we've got kids who are in the STEM class talking about video game programming. And tell us what it's like from your vantage point of what it takes to not only program it and debug it and then market it. And we've got alums who are chief political reporters for major newspapers in Washington. And, might having someone like that come speak to our students really pique somebody's interest in, what is it like to really be in the middle of reporting on politics and during the presidential election? We've got, alums who are down in Montgomery. We've got people all over the place, and not just here in the community, but who are outside and, move to different states who have that impact. And if we can figure out ways to get them connected and bring them in and help elevate the vision of our students of what they believe is possible, that is an incredible project that we are undertaking and can be literally change somebody's life.
Totally agree.
Well, I echo that, and I've already talked, and I'm sorry to ramble, but this community and what it's produced through, I think, the school system, it all starts with education. I really genuinely feel this way, it cannot be matched in the entire country. And that is, I do not think I'm exaggerating when I say that. And Scott just named a few. I mean, there are some CEOs in this country that came from this high school that are in like just these huge roles, and editors of books and just that we've all read came from Vestavia Hills High School. And to get the word out and just to be a showcase and a promoter of what we have, I think it is a long time coming, and just so excited to see what y'all have in store.
And I think going a long way too is just saying, hey, you graduated here, you're still a part. Like, we want you to come back. I think that goes a long way for alums as well.
And it helps people like our children
Yes,
to
for
say, why do I have to go to school? All that question, why do I have to do math? All that stuff. And like, listen, that person was saying the same stuff. That's why you wake up every day, because it all starts here, and that's where you can end up.
Think of how many awesome teachers you have that were educated K through 12 in Vestavia and chosen to come back and stay here and have the same influence. It's remarkable.
Al, thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Board members, before we want to turn over to you for a public comment, I want to it's not on the agenda, that as a wrap up to I Am Vestavia Week, I wanted you just to hear a little bit about what took place. Faith was the brains behind that operation, and last week culminated into a beautiful event last Thursday at the Civic Center. Would you just share a little bit about the week last week?
Yeah, so we celebrated, all the schools did different things. I don't even know of all the things that the schools did. I'm going to a pep rally Friday that wraps up what Kazitz was doing like this coming Friday. So there were celebrations all over the district, but Thursday night we had performers. We had booths from over 20 different countries, and they're all residents, and they bring artifacts and snacks, and we had a fashion show. We probably had 30 kids in that, and they dressed head to toe in their cultural, traditional dress. And so it was really moving. Moving it to the Civic Center this year was a good move. We didn't have to worry about weather because Thursday was a little precarious. So it was just a great celebration, and I think that it will just get bigger with what they're doing within the schools. All the elementary schools do have 13 suitcases, and each suitcase is really just a box, but it's a ready-made lesson plan on 13 different countries that the teachers can come and get, and then they can just bring it back to the classroom, and it's already ready for them to share with their kids. So it was a good week.
It was. It's fantastic, Faith. Really well done. Really well done. Thank you.
So if anybody here would like to make public comment tonight? I will not read the paragraph of public comment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Your turn.